Welcome in, latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. Go by SEC Mike on the Twitters. And buddy, I just wanted y'all to be part of the club here, the inner circle. We don't like to hide from anybody, anything. Cousin Shane came up to Nashville last week. I can't hear this, man. Let us know if you can hear us. Let us know if you can see us, because I can't hear Shane at all.
Can you hear me?
Oh, we got you now. Let me guess. You threw your shit down and then you said, "Oh, I got pot here in 5 minutes. Let me put it back together again."
Or not this time, Mike. This time, notice I've got a little bit more of the background. When I came back, I was like, I'm going to get this right. Problem was I was connected to the road and not streamer, but I am good, brother.
Okay. Well, they can hear us. So fantastic. We got a great show. We got a double show, Shane. So that's why I hit the button, whether you were ready or not, because we got a show after this. Me and Chris Marler, we're going to preview and predict the entire NCAA bracket. But before we get to that, Shane, we got tons and tons of football to get to.
Yeah.
And no comments on the hat yet from you, but Ovaltine's, he does not like this hat here, but I thought it was pretty funny. That's why I wear it. But hey, we're brought to you by MyBookie, presenting sponsor Shane. Head on over to mybookie.ag today. Put in that promo code, that SEC, to get you what will that get you, Shane? Whatever you're willing to deposit. If you're an initial depositor, MyBookie's willing to match it 50%. So let's say you put in $100, MyBookie's going to give you an additional 50 for this NCAA tournament, all the way up to them high rollers, Shane. If you put in 1,000, that's the limit. They'll give you an extra $500. So you can have $1,500 in your account today, thanks to our friends over at MyBookie with that promo code, that SECTHAT. Shane, it's been too long since the cousins have seen you. What you been up to, man? You've been golfing? You've been eating hot chicken?
Yeah,
what you been up to?
Oh, brother, I tell you what, I'm still recovering from Nashville, it feels like. And you didn't catch it earlier. I thought maybe you were binge watching Peaky Blinders before you jumped on here. So, but absolutely been busy. And I'm so glad to be on, because, brother, this, I love football. Everybody knows that. That's my sport number one. If I got rid of all the sports, I'll be fine just keeping football. But this week's special because you got March Madness. You've got the Masters going on. It's just, I don't know, man. It's spring. There's something. There's a little extra pep in the step. The time changed. You got more daylight. Mike, this is one of my favorite times of the year right now. And now with MyBookie, we can also make a little cheddar. So that's not too bad either.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm doing. This is my Masters hat, Shane. That's what it is.
Yeah. You look like that, or you've been riding a horse or something. But hey, I will also say this, Mike. The bracket. I just put my bracket together yesterday, and I'll tell you what, man. I may have the winner. I may have the ringer this year.
Hey, well, shout out Michael Raleigh. He's been a official cousin Shane for 6 months. So we thank you so much, Michael. And he's got a question right off the top here. First of all, he says, go ahead and get that banner ready, because he knows that the Florida Gators are going to win it all. That's his prediction.
Michael's been waiting for this. I know it. He's like, I'm waiting till that fat ass gets on here, and I'm going to remind him who won the SEC.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, they got their eyes on winning the NCAA tournament, Shane. Yeah. But here's a question from Michael Raleigh. Restaurant suggestions. He's headed up to Gatlinburg tomorrow.
Oh, well, brother, where to start? So if you're staying in Gatlinburg, there's a couple places I like to go to, but it is the pancake capital of the world. So you got to do Pancake Pantry. They had one in Nashville. I didn't get over there, but Ty did. But I'll tell you what, if you like pancakes, there's a lot. Everybody's got their favorite, but mine is easily hands down the Pancake Pantry. But in the area, I really like going down to Pigeon Forge a little bit. They got a couple places down there. There's one called Local Goat. And if you're into just the tourist trap, you can't go wrong with the old meal either. So those are a few suggestions I would have.
How about G's Luis's, the Peddler? That's a good place, isn't it?
Well, that's $1, man. Depends. I don't know. Depends on how many cousins we had during this show. I don't get to the Peddler that often, but I've been there once. It is absolutely fantastic, but you better bring some money. And you got to realize, man, the place is picking up. Town's getting busy. Dollywood just opened up. Rest in peace to her husband. I don't know if you saw that, but her husband passed away. But she shows up. The park is rolling, but unfortunately, that brings in droves of people. So just be ready for the crowds.
Yeah. Hey, like I said, we got a ton of football we're going to get to here, Shane, but it is March Madness after all. I got the spreads courtesy of my bookie. We got spreads for every single matchup involving an SEC team, with the exception of Auburn. We don't know their opponent yet.
Yeah.
Their opponent, I believe, is playing tomorrow, and then that'll it's either tomorrow or I think it's maybe even tonight. But
it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, they're going to get killed either way. So let's run down these point spreads for the opening round games, just SEC. That's all we care about. Then Florida Gators for Michael Riley, Shane, playing Norfolk State. It's apparently Michael Vick's school. Florida favored by 29 points. Good,
buddy.
Dude, Florida's marching to the Sweet 16. If you hate Florida, too bad, because they're marching their ass to the Sweet 16.
Well, they keep playing games like this. They may not have them on TV. You know, it's like
and then we got, here for you, Shane, Tennessee favored by 18.5 over
not enough.
Wofford. How about that?
Wofford. That's not enough. It's not enough. So, but I like it. I like those double-digit spreads coming to these games.
That's a school that, like, South Carolina plays week 1 is Wofford. You know what?
Yeah, that's the one that's got the little bulldog thing, right? The worst mascot in the country.
Oh, I think it's kind of cute.
Yeah, if that's what you're going against, you know, I look for intimidating mascots, but Wolford went for hey, don't hurt us.
And then we got Alabama, Shane, favored by 22 points over Robert Morris, which is what we were calling you when you failed to show up last time.
Yeah, I went to school with Robert. Good guy, but terrible school. So,
all right. So then we got Kentucky favored by only 10.5 against Troy. How about that one?
Ooh, Troy, what you hiding down there? No, that's a deceiving little line right there.
Yeah, and then I'm really looking forward to this game, and this will be a Wednesday evening game. Shane, Texas, they're in the initial rounds to get into the real tournament, if you will. Of course, they're in, but they're playing at Xavier, and they're actually an underdog by 2. But remember, Texas got red hot at the end of the year. They won 2 games in the SEC tournament. I love Texas right there as an underdog, even.
Absolutely. This ain't your daddy's Xavier team. You know what I'm saying? So I like this one. This is good bet. This was as I'm looking now the bracket, I don't know if it's about you, Mike, but it's so tough not to just put SEC for every one of them. I tried to be like, I got to pull off an upset here, but man, I don't know. This first round looks pretty good for the SEC.
Well, Shay, when you got 14 teams in it, which is over 20% of the field, there's going to be a lot of SEC wins this weekend. You know what?
Yeah, my bracket starts to look like the SEC tournament after a little while. You know?
Then we got, how about this? This was kind of stunning, Shane. Arkansas, an underdog to Kansas. Arkansas underdog, 4.5 points. That's another one, Shane, where I don't really understand all this, to be quite honest with you, but someone put out like a betting guide, and there's like key metrics where they look at 17 key metrics, so 0 would be bad, 17 out of 17 is outstanding. Arkansas had 17 of 17 that they look for in a Cinderella to make a deep run. So maybe the best bet on the board right there is Arkansas being an underdog to Kansas by 4.5 points. And I get it, Kansas, that's a big name.
Yeah.
They ain't that good this year, trust me.
No. And honestly, not to give away my bracket, I've got Arkansas going pretty far, and that's before you just kind of doubled that. Made me feel a little bit better, man. I like that.
And then we got Georgia, another underdog against Gonzaga. Wrong, Bulldogs favored, Shay. Georgia, an underdog by 6.5 points. Georgia is another team where I think people are going to be stunned, Shane. I think we're going to have a team like this, maybe Arkansas, maybe a Georgia that makes a deep run. They're like, by God, this SEC really was good, because those are the teams that didn't even factor in the SEC race, but the league is so good. I think Georgia could make a run here.
Yeah, it's just the right Georgia's got to show up. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's the problem with them. It's just a lot of ups and downs. But when they're up, man, this is a team that can go deep in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. And then we got Mizzou, Shane. They are favored. Never even heard of this school. Drake's going to get that ass whoop, but Missouri's favored by nearly a touchdown, 6.5 points here in the NCAA tournament. You got to love Mizzou there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Drake. Is this a singer? You got a school now?
Hey, shout out San Antonio Brahma Bullpen. What a name there. He just became a member to the channel, Shane. San Antonio, welcome to the family. Hopefully his team's in here. I would imagine maybe A&M or Texas or something like that. So speaking of A&M, Shane, A&M favored by 7.5 against Yale. Remember, Yale beat Auburn. They shocked the world last NCAA tournament. And I think it was like Jay Billis or something saying this Yale coach, one of the best coaches in the country. So A&M, are they on upset alert, favored by 7.5?
No. But I would say there's a lot of upset. There's like a lot of torn fans, it feels like, with A&M. And I'm not saying the guy's coaching for his job, but he may be. You know what I'm saying? I feel like A&M's got to come out here, hit boots on ground. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, San Antonio's an A&M fan. You just pissed him off, Shane. He's gone already.
Hey, expectations are high down there at College Station. They don't want to bounce in the first round.
No, when you're top 10 and then I think they lost quite a few games down of course, they did beat number 1. Again, they're another team, Shane. If they get bounced in the first round, maybe too strong. But if they get bounced in the second round or they go to the damn Final Four, I wouldn't be surprised either way. You know what I mean?
No. I'm telling you, it's the SEC will win this national championship, but I have no idea which one it's going to be.
Maybe it's Mississippi State, Shane. They're playing Baylor, and it's a pick 'em. So Mississippi State, Marlar's very high on Mississippi State. Again, Marlar and I are going to break down the NCAA tournament here at the top of the hour, but Mississippi State is a pick 'em. I like that.
Marlar, big on state, huh? Didn't see that one coming. Wrong Bulldog, ain't it?
Hey, how about Brian Moore, Shane? Brian just became a member to the channel. Welcome to the family. We appreciate you, brother. That's awesome. Ken says I need to have a British accent. Maybe I'll try. I don't know if I can do British. You know what? I can't do accent. Can you do? I know you do like a little half-assed Irish
English. I have a Calvary. You need sticks twice as long as mine, maybe even longer. Your mother's been telling stories about me again, hasn't she? Name that movie. Braveheart. That was Braveheart.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Now I see it now. I see it. Hey, we got so many damn teams in here. We ain't done yet, Shane. Oklahoma, an underdog by 4.5 to UConn, back-to-back national champions. They're going to get bounced in the damn first round because Boomer Sooners come to town. You know what?
Hell yeah.
And then last but not least, Vanderbilt, Shane, they got in this year. They same spread as Oklahoma, 4.5 point underdog. Vanderbilt is to St. Mary's. St. Mary's better say some prayers because Vanderbilt's coming to town to whoop that ass. You know what?
That's right. I'm thinking of all the other comments I've got running around my head now. You know, I'm just ready to go have a Guinness with my boy here. You know?
All right. So, hey, that's all the basketball we got here. But, hey, shout out Brian Moore because he just became a member. And I would assume this is the same Brian Moore, Shane. I love going on the YouTube comments and engaging with all the cousins in there, even if they're not. I don't even know if Brian was on the live channel yesterday, but he asked a terrific question. This is what he said on the YouTubes. I haven't heard or seen anyone talk about Texas' schedule in this regard, Shane. I'm going to throw it up here for the upcoming season. And just the fact that Texas has got 8 consecutive SEC games to end the season. Not to mention at Ohio State right out the gate, but Murderer's Row for Texas. And he said, is this not a big deal as I think it is? And how about this, Shane? I did some digging. Last year, there was 3 teams that had this, maybe not necessarily to finish the year, but have had 8 consecutive SEC games just last year. Can you think of any? I just want to. I know you probably won't think of any, but can I stump you? There's 3 of them, and
that had consecutive SEC games.
8 consecutive.
Ole Miss.
Wow, you're good. You nailed one already.
Yeah. Give me A&M.
Ooh, no, but you're very close.
Yeah. Texas.
Bingo. That was one of the other ones, but let's go down the other one here. So Georgia went 8 consecutive.
Georgia. Oh yeah, Sakey. Thanks, guy.
Right. So I mean, to Brian's point, again, this was the SEC champs. I know they came up short in the college football playoff. A lot of that, quarterback got injured and this, that, and the other. But man, it is a damn gauntlet to go 8 consecutive SEC games. That's how Georgia got 2 of their losses, both on the road, at Alabama, at Ole Miss. And really the Alabama, I don't want to call it a fluke, but it literally came down to like the last play. Ryan Williams, one of the greatest plays we've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Had they not got 8 consecutive SEC games and not all these difficult games on the road, hell, only 3 of them were at home. Maybe it's a little bit different story. Maybe Georgia has a better record. So to Brian's point, I think that is something worth monitoring. Ole Miss was the other one. Shane, way to go. I mean, you're on top of your damn game right here. Ole Miss had 8 consecutive SEC games, and hell, they lost 3 of them, Shane. We're going to have a little bit more on that. Lane Kiffin made those comments. I think he's at my house right now, but sorry to cut you off. What were you going to say?
Well, I was just saying, as far as Ole Miss, I remember the 4 cupcake games, that started the season, but I feel like that's what a lot of people are going to forget about, is just how grueling this conference can be. I mean, you can't say on one side the SEC's dominant, the SEC's physical, and then on the other side you say, Texas got blessed with an easy schedule here. If you go 8 SEC games in a row, by God, that depth chart will be challenged by the end of the season.
Right, and they were the only ones, Shane, to do it. 8 consecutive here. Texas got last season. They're going to do it again this year, but they did lose to Georgia. But, yeah, I mean, I think that's something to be said. So, Brian, let's go a step further, because Brian's a Texas fan. He's not going to want to hear this, but plug your ears, Brian. And I'm saying if, Shane, if Texas drops one of these 8 consecutive SEC games, that will, and let's take Georgia off the table because it's in Athens. Texas could be favored to win that game by the time it rolls around. But I think even a diehard Texas fan, I think they'd say, okay, Georgia will probably be favored. Yeah. Not saying they can't win it, but let's assume Georgia is favored. So taking that one off the board, I think Texas will be favored in every other SEC game. Could you see them dropping a single one of these because it's 8 consecutive conference games? Does that make sense? Like if there's one, is there one that sticks out to you?
Well, they ain't gonna want to hear it, but I just think the obvious answer would be A&M there. And don't get me wrong, I think Arkansas could be a tricky one too, but I would maybe earlier in the schedule. I feel like Arkansas is going to be one of those teams again where depth's going to be an issue. I just feel like A&M may have a little bit more competitive depth, and being a rivalry matchup, that's the one I'm kind of leaning toward. What about yourself?
Yeah, of course. We'll get to our interview at some point with Ty. He's already outright predicted it, so I'll go a different one. We did trap games with Steven the other day.
Yeah,
I said the trap game's the first one. Shane, how about that? At Florida. Especially if Texas whoops Ohio State's ass, they're going to be preseason. Well, they may already be preseason number 1. But if you go on the road, beat the defending national champs in Columbus, Texas is going to skyrocket to number 1. They're going to remain number. They're going to beat the hell out of the next 3. I don't know. It's a little bit. Yeah, exactly. It's a little similar vibes to Ole Miss last year, where they just smashed everybody. And we were crowning them as God's gift of football. And then they got punched in the face at home against Kentucky. So I think it might be Florida.
Yeah, it's just hard not to think about the last time these two teams met, though. And the fact the quarterback is like, I don't know, a little banged up. So I get what you're saying. I do like, because of Florida, I like having that game early. So if you were to think a chance here. And I'm not saying it's this doesn't have to be a monumental upset. This just needs to have a few cards go your way. I feel like Florida absolutely can give Texas a run for their money. But
right.
I think if you were a Texas fan, I don't think you're too worried about this one.
No, I don't think so either. And if you remember, Shay, that was the game where Scott Strickland, the Florida AD, he came out before.
Yeah.
Because he knew they were going to get their ass whooped. And he's like, Billy's here to stay. He had to get in front of that ass whooping.
Does it pull up Florida's schedule? Does it change at all in your mind, though, that let's just say Florida is that team. They do take that monumental step forward, and they're 4-0 rolling into this game after a bye week, Mike. Then what do you think the point spread on that game would be? I think, and for the listeners, again, you got the Sharks,
Long Island.
Yeah, we're going to have a few of those during that football game. We're going to have USF. We're going to have LSU on the road in Miami. So it's not like a cakewalk here, but if you start the season 4-0, have that bye week coming into Austin, man, that's I don't know. I think it would be around a touchdown. It would be the difference here.
I'll say 10 points because again, Texas will have already played at Ohio State, and if they
I didn't say they won it though.
If they whoop their ass, that's my whole trap game. That's why Florida's a trap game because I don't know. I think they're going to be anointed after that game.
Okay, all right.
And I say the Swamp's harder to play in than them.
Oh, for sure.
At Ohio State.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Those Buckeyes are gonna love that. You know what?
Yeah, I mean, unless it's cold, and you got your shirts off at the start of the game. Don't do that. Learn from Tennessee there.
Hey, shout out TriStar Shane. He just became a member of the channel. TriStar, welcome to the family. Hey, shout out cousin Ken here, Shane. He's a Florida fan. Come on, 4-0. This is Billy we're talking about. That's pretty bad, but it's your own fans called you out.
Oh, come on, kid.
All right, hey, let's get on with it, Shay. We got a lot of comments here from some coaches and some from some player. So I'm trying to find the best ones possible. And I'm going to celebrate these damn guys, Shane, that decide we're going to have spring games and we're doing it for the fans. Shout out Shane Bieber.
Injuries. Well, we've got, for us this year, 13 practices leading up to the spring game. It's not like we go out there and just, play two-hand touch. I mean, there's injuries that can happen in practice as well. And in a lot of ways, you worry. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we lost our starting left tackle 2 years ago in the spring game to an ACL injury. I understand that injuries can happen in a spring game, but they can also happen in practice in the 32 days or 30 days that there are leading up to the spring game, 32 days from now. So, I get that, but that's something that isn't weighing heavily on my mind necessarily. And then to me, there's just so many benefits of doing a spring game. One, for the fans, it's awesome for our fans to be able to come out and see our football team perform in Williams-Brice Stadium. Some people that maybe aren't able to come to a home game in Columbia on a Saturday, they're able to come and watch us in the spring game, which I don't want to take that away from any of them. Two, I think maybe some of these schools that aren't having spring games, they maybe draw 1,000 people at best, and maybe not all of them. Some of them, look, I get it. Nebraska's not having a spring game. They sell out their spring game, so I'm not attacking Nebraska because of Nebraska. But there are schools that if you watch their spring game, there's nobody in the stands. That's not going to be the case for us. So it goes back from a recruiting standpoint. We'll have a lot of recruits here every day during spring practice. But from a recruiting standpoint, that's a huge recruiting tool for us. And we're doing it on a Friday night this year. So there's no other spring games going on that I'm aware of on that Friday night. So it'll be a great recruiting experience for us. And I don't want to lose that because a spring game in Williams-Brice is different than a spring game in maybe some places that I have watched on television before. I've been on the soapbox for 15 years, almost 20 years now about I wish we had a preseason game in college football. We don't in 2025. So the benefits of our players being able to go perform in front of a crowd is a benefit, because if you're all of our freshmen, that they're all basically here right now going through spring practice, I think, except for like 5 guys, they get a chance to go play in front of however many thousands of people that we're going to have out there. It's going to be a lot, which for a lot of guys, it's the biggest crowd they've ever played in front of in their life, because it's bigger than any crowd they played in front of in high school. And they get that experience, and the first time they do it isn't in front of 70,000 people in Atlanta against Virginia Tech. And then probably more than anything, Jordan, our guys love to compete, and they love to compete. And that's an opportunity to go in Williams-Brice Stadium in front of a crowd and compete in a game setting. And if I told our players that we weren't having a spring game, I think they'd be pretty dang disappointed, because of how much they do love to compete.
Doing it for the players, Shane. Doing it for the fans. Come on. I love these comments from old Shane Beamer.
This is what we argue, Mike. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, when the dust settles, it's not about Disney. It's not about the coaches. It's not about the boosters. It's about the fans. It's about the players. And I love this. I couldn't agree more, especially when he was talking about there's some people that can't make it to Columbia on Saturdays. They just can't. Maybe it's affordability, maybe it's work or whatever, but they have an opportunity to do it during the spring game, and it's something to kind of get them through the summer, if you will.
I'm adding a win to his total, Shane. He's 30 and 22 now down in South Carolina. What way to go, Beaver. I love to see this. And again, this is football, man. You can't be gutless, and I don't buy. It's just so lame, Shane. People that say, well, they're going to watch the spring game, they're going to steal our players. Like, come on, they already know who you got on the roster.
Yeah.
You know what they're really scared of, Shane? And a lot of these coaches, I think, are too gutless to kind of say it. They're worried that you throw these players out there, and then, maybe let's just say, like, it doesn't matter the position, but let's say running back, where you put this guy out here, he thinks he's the best running back, but you got him on the 3rd string. Oh, you got this receiver out here who thinks he should be starting. He's running with the 4th string. You know what I mean? Like, on and on and on. That's what they're afraid of. And these guys getting pissed off. You're on TV. And all of a sudden you're going to leave because you're so far down the depth chart. So these guys want to eliminate depth chart. They want to eliminate all this competition, which, in a sense, I get it, because of that spring portal looms large. But if you can't trust your own guys to not jump in the portal because they're low on the depth chart, probably shouldn't be there in the first place. You know what?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get the argument, but, again, these kids know. It's not like in practice they're getting 2s or 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, one game is not going to be the reason that a kid jumps. A kid maybe jumps because he realizes he's not going to touch grass this fall. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
Yeah, I think Beamer hit the nail on the head here. And these other places that got 1,000 people, he said, 1,000? Was that a shot at Florida State? 1,000 people showing up for spring games. It's like, who gives a shit? Columbia, they're going to show up because they enjoy it.
Yeah. Now, buddy, on the other end, I'm starting to lose faith. I don't think you're going to like this one, Shane. Brian Kelly, they ain't having a spring game.
Oh,
Let's hear his rationale here.
Some coaches have expressed concern that other schools were watching spring games with the idea of poaching some of their players. Did that factor in at all for you?
I wasn't worried about that. I mean, I think if you're going to lose a player, it's not because of what they put on film in the spring ball. It's because of what's happened, throughout the entire semester or year. I think that was just an easy soundbite to, get out from under having a spring game. That's just my opinion. I think the game itself needs to be treated much more as a work day. I'll give you an example. Like, we had to use one of our practices leading into the spring game to organize the spring game. And we actually lost a spring practice, if you will, of development. Like, we'd have to go through, situational substitution and all of the special teams and who was on what team and pregame and all of those things. And I really didn't get a full practice in on 14. Now I don't have to worry about that. I get a full practice in on 14, and 15, I get some more developmental work in third down situations or short yardage and things that maybe never would come up in a spring game. So it just makes more sense. We were wedded to this idea that it had to culminate with a spring game. And I just think we just took a step back and said, you know what, let's think like OTAs. Like, you got so many OTAs, use them up, make sure that you're getting all the developmental work and skill work necessary, and don't be wed to the idea of a spring game. Now, some may still want it. Like, if I had a really young football team that we were playing a lot of young players, I may opt for a game. So we have to go through the tunnel and we have to go through a pregame, and I put them in the locker room and have them run out. So it's not the first time we do it against, say, Clemson, right? So there are some teams that may want to have a spring game. I just think that everybody now is at that point where let's not be wed to having a spring game just because.
We're going to have to teach our guys to run out the tunnel. We can't. We're just going to take a whole practice getting to run out there. I mean, what the hell are we talking about here, Shane? This guy's, he's losing me. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I don't like this at all. This is just coward's way. It's like my kid explaining why she didn't do her homework. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, come on, man. You know why you did bad on this quiz, because your ass didn't study. So no, this is a coward's way out, and I hate it. But I'm torn, because I do see other teams doing it, and so I get where Brian Kelly's coming from, that he doesn't want to deal. He just doesn't want to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he would rather have the practice than having not so much the get everything ready for the spring game, but just the whole deal. Maybe the talking, maybe the signing. He just would rather just go there, do some coaching, and get the hell out.
Yeah, it reminds me of Dan Mullen, Shane. He didn't want to deal with recruiting.
Yeah.
Now his ass is at UNLV because he couldn't cut it. You know what I mean? Like, this is why he's making $10 million a year. So that he can't bitch about every little thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't feel bad for anybody in this situation. I really don't.
No, me either. Absolutely not.
Hey, but two people that certainly I feel great about, Shane.
Who's that?
Horton hears you. What a legend. He
oh.
just gifted a membership, Shane. Well, he did it about 5 minutes ago. I was going through that BK thing. To Old King, welcome to the family. Mr. Old King, we appreciate you. And the legend is back, Shane. JR.
Come on, cuz.
He's never far. JR just gifted a membership to Krenz.
Welcome to the family.
Thanks to the legend, JR. We appreciate you, buddy. But, hey, I think you'll like this one. Of course, we've heard this before, Shane. We have heard this. I don't want to call it BS, because I think he's speaking with his heart here. But the standard down there, Garrett Nussmeier, playoffs. It's playoff talk down in LSU, Shane.
The guys before you have made significant jumps as a starter from year 1 to year 2. Not to put pressure on yourself, but do you feel like you can do something like that? Are you more comfortable? Yeah. Everything's moving slower, maybe, or?
I think that that's not really my focus. I think that I'm worried about doing the best I can to help LSU win a national championship, and that's the mindset. That's the energy and intensity that I bring every single day. And it's not about me. It's not about the transition or the year 2. It's about LSU football and year 4 under Coach Kelly. What are we going to do? And we're not afraid to admit it. We've set the standard of where we expect to be, and we expect to play football in January next year. So.
They expect to play football in old January. That means the playoff, Shane.
Yep. Or a good bowl game,
No,
just kidding.
I don't think that's what he's saying. But, if you had to bet the mortgage, not making an official prediction right now, Shane, does LSU make that playoff?
It's going to be tough, Mike. It's going to be tough. I'm higher on LSU than you are, So when I'm looking at pivotal matchups, and I do think there is a shot that LSU does get in that mix for the college football play. I love what they've done in the offseason. I joke about Coach Kelly giving his money back to recruit, but I got it paid off, and the ring leader is your quarterback sitting there at the podium telling you he wants to compete he is the spear of that football team. And I think there's a shot the LSU Tigers, not guaranteed, but at least will be in the mix come November.
Yeah, like a politician with that answer, Shane.
No new taxes.
I'm gonna say no. I don't believe in Brian Kelly. I really don't.
I
think
know you don't.
I think he's a good coach, not an elite coach. And we have how many times have we seen this portal strategy really pay off and win big? I don't know. So
You know how they do it, Mike?
Hmm.
Something that Coach Kelly has not been able to do since he's been down there at LSU.
win the opener.
That's it. I think if they beat Clemson, they may find 2 losses in the SEC and still get in. But if they lose to Clemson, I think they have a chance of losing multiple SEC games and then they're out. So I'm not saying we're talking about some of the most important games week 1. I don't think anybody's under more pressure than Coach Kelly to finally get a win down there in LSU.
Yeah. Well, the fact that he's not having a spring game for the fans. that's just going to add.
He's already dialed in the clips, and I like it.
Well, I'll tell you who is dialed into the fans, Shane, and that's our friends over at Brunt Workwear.
Yes.
Check out bruntworkwear.com/SEC, Shane, for $10 off your full order. They sent us some of their outstanding boots. I got a hat over here. I wonder if Shane got his boots yet. He was pretty jealous of mine down in Nashville, but they make outstanding waterproof safety toe, soft toe, lace on, lace up, however you want them. You can customize them over at bruntworkwear.com/SEC. That's the important part over at bruntworkwear.com. That promo code SEC, get you $10 off your entire order. You will not be dissatisfied. You got some, I don't know. Shane was saying, man, I'm going to have to do some damn work now that I got these damn boots up, so they may inspire you to get some stuff down around the house. They're that nice.
I'm going to get laced up. I'm going to go eat some Hardee's breakfast early in the morning. And I'm going to go down to my local lumber yard, Blanken West, and I'm going to talk shop. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to feel like I belong. So who knows? I may buy some lumber while I'm there.
Well, I'll tell you who could use some lumber, Shane. That's old Lane Kiffin. Let me know. Does this bother you? Because I was not too thrilled with these comments either. Ole Miss just opened spring. Let's kick it over to Coach.
Just about the NFL draft. Jackson's had a really good pre-draft process. A lot of guys have really, you could have a historic NFL draft if things fall right. Just what do you think about this class and what you've seen them do so far the coming months as they progress in their careers, like Jackson, as they move on?
I think it's a great class of players that are really good kids. I know the season didn't in the way we wanted, but those guys played really well and played some dominant football. I'm not going to go over this over and again like I have before, but they won 10 games all by over double digits. And then we went 0-3 in 1-score games. Somebody said the other day, if you played that season, in analytics 100 times, there's probably only a couple that you end up, with 3 losses out of the 100. So those guys did a really good job, really good players, and it's a lot of work putting those guys together to get them to come. And so I think a lot of them are going to get drafted. I don't know history and numbers. I would guess more than has ever been drafted here before. I'm so excited for all those guys to get that opportunity.
I'll tell you why I didn't like that, Shane. It's got a little bit, he's not quite the same category, but it had some vibes of Hugh Freeze. 9 out of 10, we win that game. We do this season 100 times. We would have got there for 97 of them. But really, it is at the end. And again, he was asked about the draft. He's not coming out here and kicking down the door saying, we're getting all these guys drafted. So, he's only answering what he's asked. But would you be touting that we got a record amount of draft prospects if, it was the last dance and playoffs been expanded, playoff. That's all anybody talked about in Oxford. They didn't even make the damn thing. That is just yet another sign that you fell short of expectations.
Yeah, he's talking to boosters these days. You know what I'm saying? And some of those conversations have carried over to the podium and letting you know that, hey, this is the best we've been in a long time. It's not the end. If we would have had another opportunity, if we had some more money, we could do this, you know? So I feel like that's a little bit of what's going on here. But yeah, I definitely think draft picks is something that you need to use as a promotional tool, because you got to remember, a lot of these kids went to Ole Miss just for that. They didn't come there to, some of them did, you know, I probably shouldn't bulk them up together, but some of them just came to get paid. You know what I'm saying? Some of them came over to be part of something great. And when you can create that momentum, you can create that resume saying, hey, come over here for a year. We put you in the league. I think this is something you definitely need to be letting the kids know. And I mean, hell, I saw a tweet the other day from Adam Schefter about the LSU team where they combined, I think it was 4 of them, Chase and all those guys, 600, I don't like to use the number, but $666 million worth of contracts. So, you know, these are the stats. These are the numbers that you're going to be giving these kids. Say, hey, man, you come here, we can be part of something special. So I don't mind that part. It's just the whole 9 out of 10, the 100 times I put that up, you know?
Well, key difference with those players you just referenced, Shane. What did LSU get done in 2019? They won the whole damn thing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, whatever they've done the rest of their lives, they're legends. I don't want to say these Ole Miss guys are not good because, again, they're clearly good. But I don't know. You just had a record draft, and we still lost 3 games.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. Can't defend them. Can't defend them.
Whiffing. All right. How about this one? Oof, man. I don't know what to make of this situation. There's panic everywhere. I don't know that I sense panic here, Shane. But let's jump down to Gainesville real quick. Billy Napier asked about an update for DJ Lagway. Let me know how you feel after this clip.
Yeah, I think it's we've got a really detailed plan. I think we laid that out. I think the key, and I kind of took some notes there in practice there, while he's going through this process, I think it's important that we challenge him. We still have to have a daily plan to keep him engaged. I think right now he's communicating with the other quarterbacks. He's calling in the plays in some periods, which is healthy. See it from a different perspective. And then I do think that he's getting back in his rhythm, I think physically. So, but in general, I think it provides a great opportunity for the other players,
I love this comment from Texas Chick. What the hell's he saying? Yeah, we got a detailed plan. And then yada, 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 nothing. But again, maybe it doesn't seem like he wants to give any information, which is further, there's like a cloud over Gainesville because it's like, well, is this guy going to be good or not? I mean, he's not giving away anything.
Sometimes it's a blessing to sit on the sideline and not use your starting quarterback. Oh, man, this stuff can come back to backfire. You know what I'm saying? Because you're right. This is a make or break season for Bill. He knows it. He absolutely knows it. And not having your starting QB out there right now in spring, that's a little disheartening. But that's what we are. It's where we're at. We can't fix it, but you definitely don't want him out there if he has the opportunity to get banged up. So let's get him healthy and then almost like pray to God we have a wonderful season, because he's a physical quarterback. We had what's his name Billy Lucci in there the other day just talking about how physical he is, and his part of his game is going to need to take contacts, need to take hits. So it's like, do you run him out now, or do you just kind of like, hey, let's just be patient here?
Yeah, and Liquid says the Gators YouTube channel showed Lagway taking some reps. So again, I don't think it's anything bad, but we're just kind of guessing because these are the answers. Well, we got a detailed plan. Like, come on, give us something here, Billy.
Yeah, I hope it's good, because I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can be down there. And honestly, for him to take that big step forward, he needs those reps. He needs to come out here, and the kids around him need it. It's not just quarterback. So hopefully we can get at least some summer workouts in, so that he's ready to hit it when fall starts.
Yeah. You know what Billy needs for his stinky answers, Shane?
What's that?
Shop Mando. Come on, shopmando.com/SEC. That promo code SEC over at shopmando.com, Shane. That'll get you $5 off a starter pack over at Shop Mando. And that $5, Shane, is 40% off the entire product over there. Get you some whole body deodorant via shopmando.com. Shane, this is clinically proven to control body odor better than just shower and a soap alone. So this is safe to use anywhere on your body. So Billy's going to need it all over him down there because, it gets swampy down there, Shane. Maybe that's his problem down there when there's, hey, what's going on with DJ? The guy's sweating. He's got to hit the showers. He just want to give us anything. His mind is on how bad this answer is going to be stinky. Head on over to shopmando.com/SEC. Get your $5 off, which is 40% off the full product, Shane, of a starter pack over at Shop Mando. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I could tell when you were using it. I was like, Mike, you used to smell worse, so I was glad you started doing that. I may come to Nashville more now.
Hey, you're going to like this one, Shane. Tennessee offensive coordinator, Joey Hazel.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem with Tennessee, Shane. Everybody knows it. I'm going to throw up there his returning production. Buddy, it's rough. We've lost, our star running back.
Yeah.
We lost all our receivers. We lost some leadership on the offensive line. Who in the heck, Shane, is going to step up and be a leader for the Vols? Well, naturally, it's got to be your quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So here's the offensive coordinator, Joey Halsley, on Nico's growing leadership this spring on Rocky Top.
Back with Nico, to the leadership aspect, Cooper, Dillon, Brew, there was a lot of talking last year. Were there ever a point in time, him being the quarterback last year, that he took control? Did you see any?
Absolutely. Yeah, he's never scared of the spotlight. He's not scared to step out. It's just not his natural personality to be boisterous and jump out in front of a room, especially when you got guys that he respected in that position. There's no need to talk over a Dylan Sampson, a Cooper Mays, a Brew McCoy. When they're handling something, they can handle it. And that's the biggest jump. Is it's not now like picking your time. It's like it is your time. Every single time. It's your time to be out there. It's your time to put yourself out there and be a little bit vulnerable in front of the team and everything that comes with that. Because if you're going to step out there, then you got to be doing everything right off the field as well.
What all does that look like? I mean, it's not just rah-rah, right?
No.
I mean, so what is organically, what do you need him to do so that it's not fake? I mean, can you kind of break down what that looks like?
Yeah, if he tried to start going rah-rah now, it wouldn't hit because that's just not him, and he doesn't do that. But what he did, like he did it today, he didn't like something he saw. He called the guys up and said, hey, and he addressed it right now, and we moved on. Like, he's not going to ever just start screaming and, like, throwing stuff. That's not him. But what he will do is step up and see something that he doesn't think is right, and he stepped in front of the group and addressed it in a way that fit him. It was assertive, but it wasn't anything that wasn't him.
So when you hear those comments, Shane, you feel a little bit more confident in Nico heading into year 2 as a starting quarterback?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you just know it. When you first meet somebody, you just know when you meet people. And Nico never came across one of those guys that's just going to yell at his offensive lineman. But he also comes across as one of those guys that can lead by example. If he's first one there in film study, if he's, expecting perfection, it's just, there's things like that people around you want to be a part of. So you could be a leader without the yelling part. But, yeah, they're going to have there'll be some moments that Nico's going to have to call these boys out because perfection's what you're going to have if you plan on making it back to the playoffs.
Right. And if he doesn't, the one that's going to be yelling is you, buddy. You know what?
Yeah, that's the damn truth. I'm trying to get my blood pressure in check, Mike. You already get me fired up again.
All right, last one I got, Shane. Hey, believe it or not, Mizzou they're about to wrap up spring football. I mean, it's come and gone. They open early. They always do that. Drink does that for a reason. He likes to give, if there's any injuries, you give him even more time to rehab and get back for the fall season. But $1 million question up there in Columbia, the quarterbacks, how's that going? We got offensive coordinator Kirby Moore. This is him talking Bo Prabula. I think I butchered that. I always do. And Sam Horn and the competition there at the quarterback position.
does a really good job taking care of the football. I think right now very, very minimal on the turnover standpoint. Has found the plays right when they present themselves, and then extended plays when those times have arose.
How would you evaluate Sam's recovery process and his progression this spring?
Yeah, the bowl prep was really cool for him to get out there, get some 7-on-7 reps. So then that transition here into the spring, I don't think was as drastic. And he's taken it head on, done a really good job, right? Going with different groups, 7-on-7 team, and very similar to Bo's, done a great job taking care of the football. The defense that we're going against, the front seven, they are very, very good, and that's making us better.
With Bo, how do you evaluate his mobility, and just in this system specifically, how important is it to have that as quarterback?
It's definitely a benefit, right? I think I've seen that firsthand, right, the last 2 years being with Brady, and all of our guys have been able to extend plays, be a part of the run game, be a +1 team at times, and that's something in this conference you got to be able to do when you need it.
So, again, not a lot there, but we live in this era, Shane, where I would be pretty stunned if Missouri comes out here and says, whether it's Sam Horn or Bo, he's our starter.
Yeah.
Because you don't want these guys to hit the portal. You need quarterback depth. So I would imagine exiting spring, Drink's probably going to say, it's a complete toss-up right now, even whether it is or it isn't. So, again, that's the information that Kirby Moore's provided. But what's your thoughts on the quarterback position here at Missouri now?
I still think, I like I think we called him Bomo. Is that the nickname we're going to roll with? No, that's what I'm going to call him because I'll never remember that last name. But I like a little quarterback competition here. I don't like so much the fact that a guy rolls in and just expects the job, because it gets sloppy, you get lazy. And I feel like if you're challenged a little bit, it could be good for the organization. But there comes a moment when I feel like it can be detrimental to a team. And if we're rolling into week 1 and we still don't know who the active quarterback is, then I feel like you just kind of, as Coach Kelly talked about earlier, you squandered some practices. So I'm sure they have, the idea who's going to be the starting guy, but I look forward to this competition for sure.
Yeah, it's just too bad you can't swap UMass and Kansas. You know what I mean? So we can have those 3 games to have a nice. Doesn't matter who now we play at quarterback. We're going to whip all their asses, but you better be ready by week 2. You know what?
Hell yeah, you better be ready.
Hey, we got a comment here from Foul Ming, Shane. Right up your alley here. Appreciate you, buddy. He's been a member for 3 months, so we appreciate you, Foul.
Absolutely.
Which players step up for Tennessee this season, given all their first-time starters, transfers, and upcoming freshmen? Who do you think has a big jump for them? Oh, Shane, I got one.
Well, I mean, I'll let you go. I think we just talked. I don't like to take this one, but I just feel like Nico has got to be the guy that takes that big step forward because of the receiver room, because new faces on the offensive line. I feel like the quarterback has got to be the one that gets these guys going early and often, and that's something we saw bits and pieces of it throughout the season, but I never left the game and say, by God, Nico won that one. I think we got to have some of that next year. And so, yeah, I think it's more about the OC and Heupel and Nico getting this thing squared away.
I'm going to say Boo Carter, Shane. Year 2, playing some offense. He's going to go both ways this year.
Yeah.
Probably not full-time offense, but full-time defense. If you're essentially a starter from the get-go, it may have been a game or 2 before he was technically a starter for the defense, but that is so hard for a true freshman. Gives you an indication of what a bright future Boo Carter has. And again, this influence that the Colorado guy had I think that's going to be felt all over college football. So I think Boo Carter could become a household name.
Yeah.
Across the country. And then I'll give you one other one. I never get enamored with these transfers, Shane, because it usually takes year 2 for them to have their big breakout season.
Yeah.
And all we heard last offseason, Shane, was Chris Brazzle. I think this is the year he kind of takes off and he may become the number 1 I know people in the comments, everybody loves Mike Matthews. Maybe Mike Matthews is that guy, but even Chris Brazzell he had a decent impact for Tennessee last season. I think it's year 2 for him, but they certainly need some receivers to step up. So, those 3 are prime candidates, I think, as breakout players for Tennessee.
Part of the reason I feel like Nico didn't have the success was because of this receiving core. And I'm kind of right there with you. I love seeing Boo. I know he's going to be all over the place. I think Matthews takes a massive step forward this season. He becomes that wide receiver 1, but for Nico to have the success that I was asking for, he's got to have some help. And again, I'm not discrediting the offensive line because that's a big part of it too. But these receivers, if it hits your damn hands, you got to come down with it. So I feel like that room in particular has got to take some big steps forward this offseason.
All right, buddy. Hey, we wrap this one up under an hour. You got anything before we hop off the line?
No, man, it's good to be back on. It's good to talk a little college football. I know basketball. I start the show talking about basketball and golf, and I end with, my baby. So college football is here. I'm so pumped up. We got a lot of cool content coming out for you. Got another show right after this, so be sure to stay tuned in for that one. Not as good looking, but very, very helpful to have Marler on. So, hey, brother, other than that, I've got nothing, man.
Okay, well, we appreciate you. It's great to have you back on. Like Shane said, don't go anywhere. In about 3 minutes, we're going to be back on breaking down the NCAA tournament with Mr. Two-Face, Chris Marler. Hopefully he's fixed his lighting. But, hey, that's going to do it for this episode of the show. We appreciate each and every one of you. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, see you guys. Go Vols.
Hey, buddy, this beer's for you, Mike, and Cousin Shane. That SEC podcast loves the Pirate, and the Pirate loves that SEC podcast. Hail State.